But here he is releasing his Fernando Tatis, a card, a player that could really take this set to the next level. These 3 cards are going to be the early blueprints for the set. If the set is ultimately successful, it is because these first 3 cards are successful. So now that we've seen a whopping 9 of the 1020 cards in Project 70, at the end of the official week number 1, which one of the 9 cards is your favorite at the moment? And welcome to episode number 3 of the Project 70 show. My name is Chris, otherwise known on Twitter and Instagram is at CRT_sportscards. And my website, crtsportscards.com, is where you want to go for everything related to Project 70 and also Project 2020. So check out the website. On the main menu, there are pages for every single breakdown on Project 70, from the artist images, player images, and I've added a 3rd page this year, the breakdown by year of the top set the artist is using. So it's going to give us a cool look in the future as we start to see 100, 200, 300 cards, what the artists have taken with different years. And also a quick shout out and thank you to all of the new recent subscribers to the channel. There's been a nice little surge over the past couple of days after Project 70 started. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. My goal this year at the moment is to release 3 videos a week. It's looking like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So when you hit that subscribe button, you are notified immediately every time I put up a video around Project 70. But until we get there and we're looking at a couple of 100 cards, we do not know right now after seeing just 9 cards. And look, there was a favorite on day number 1. That Tatis by Ermsey was the clear number 1, and the press and the people really liked that card. When you looked at day number 2 though, what was the favorite card? What was your favorite card of the releases? There was obviously some really good controversy by Bobby Hundreds with his Ken Griffey Jr. And so while his execution on this Griffey, in my perspective, was a win, his execution, though, on the social media aspect of the immediate reaction to his Ken Griffey Jr. maybe was not the best. We'll give him a slight pass on calling the card collectors noobs and not understanding what the card was all about. But it's because he didn't explain it before. And I think now that we've seen and understand his love of error cards, I really can't wait to see more of his cards come out, because if he releases an entire 20 card run of just error driven cards, it's going to be a very unique set. And so while I think that Bobby Hundreds Griffey Jr. was the clear favorite on day number 2, the other 2 cards though were a little bit surprising for me. When it comes to Mr. Cartoons, Tommy Lasorda, interesting choice to go with a manager as your first card in the set. And of course, Lasorda was a player, but a lot of us, we view him as a manager. But also he decided to go with 2021 Topps. Kind of felt cliche considering you have 70 years of Topps products to use, and you go with the one that's the newest. So we'll see how it pans out at the end of the day. But now the Snoop Dogg Acuna. I don't think any of us really knew what to expect from Snoop Dogg when it came to him releasing artwork in a trading card form. Of course, Snoop Dogg is a performer, but when you think about Snoop Dogg, you don't really think about him on a trading card. But releasing this 1954 Topps Acuna sort of made me just kind of shrug my shoulders and go, okay, let's see what happens. So very much like a cartoon with his 2021 Lasorda, I want to see more. And look, we're only 1 card into these artists, so we cannot make any judgments long term on if they're going to be fantastic or if they're going to be really bad or maybe not have the best collection at the end of the day. We're only 1 card of 20 and we got about 67 more weeks to go. But on day number 2, obviously the Griffey was the best card in my opinion, but this also feels kind of like the Koufax Rochester. It's going to get lost in the shuffle because day number 3 cards were some fantastic releases from some new artists and some old artists. And you're probably saying, Chris, there is absolutely no way that you're about to tell me that the 1961 Topps by New York Nico of Derek Jeter is a fantastic card. And I'm not telling you it is a fantastic card, and I'm also not saying it is a bad card. I think it's a question that makes us question his artwork and make us want to learn more. And that is really where I started to learn more about the artist in Project 2020, is when they put a card out that I didn't understand, just like Gregory Siff, that when I saw 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th card is when I started to really fall in love with his artwork and really understand what he's doing. So yes, the question right now from New York Nico is, why is Derek Jeter yellow. It doesn't make any sense in the short term, but it might make some sense in the long term. So here again, I'm excited to see more cards from him, because the other two artists, we have seen them before. They are very familiar to us. But when it comes to a yellow Derek Jeter, what is next from New York Nico? So I want to come back in a few weeks and see what his second card is. But when you take a look at the other two cards in the release on the third day, we have Keith Shore and we have JK5. Keith Shore going with, of course, Francisco Lindor, and we have basically two teams on this card. We have Lindor with the Indians jersey, but holding up, of course, the Mets jersey. You have the Big Apple, you have the happy fan in the background. So if you're a new person to Project 70, you might think to yourself, what is this? But if you're a returning fan to Project 2020, you are going to smile and celebrate this card, because this card is true to form for sure. And at the end of the day, when you think back to Project 2020, when you think about the last 20 to 30 cards, he probably released the best final card in Project 2020 with his Nolan Ryan, with every other player in the background. So do not lose sight of Keith Shore if you're new to Project 70. And then releasing third today, which is probably going to be most people's favorite card today, we have JK5 with just an absolute color explosion with his Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It is also nice when you think about driving a new fan base into this set to have Acuna, Tatis, and Guerrero all get released in the same week. It is going to be interesting to see if JK5 does go back to black and white, because you can make the argument his cards that are just black and white in Project 2020 were some of the better ones compared to the color, but we are going to have to find out over the next few months how he goes with his cards. But as we close out the first week, what am I looking forward to on week number 2 in Project 70? And I think it's very straightforward. I have appreciated the fact that we've had a couple of Project 2020 artists have their first card released in week number 1. We need that familiarity when it comes to the artist to see and sort of draw us back into the set. But next week, I understand that Blake Jameson is releasing his first card on Monday, but outside of that, I really hope we start to see more of the other 32 artists in the set. I want a couple of days back to back, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where we just see the new artists. Let us discover new artwork. Don't throw a new artist in with 2 old returning artists. That new artist kind of loses the shine and the luster when mixed in with some familiar faces. So next week, I really want to see maybe 10 to 12 new artists, and a lot of them having their own day and their own time in the sun, because the other artists are going to be appreciated. They already are appreciated, but it's time for us to discover some new people out there. With that, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you back next week for episode number 4 of the Project 70 Show.